Can you believe it? The Ghanaian Cedi is celebrating its 60th anniversary. And this isn't just about marking time on a calendar. No, this is a story of a truly remarkable, hard-won comeback. You know, it's not every day that things align like this, especially with how challenging the global economy has been. What we're looking at here is a story of resilience, of sovereignty, and of national pride.
Okay, let's just jump right in with the headline number because it is seriously impressive. As of October 17th of this year, the Cedi has bounced back by an incredible 37% against major world currencies. And believe me, in the world of finance, a swing like that is absolutely massive. It's a staggering turnaround.
And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. The World Bank itself has officially called the Cedi the best-performing currency in all of sub-Saharan Africa. So this isn't just some local success story. It's an achievement that's being recognized on the world stage. So the big question is, how on earth did Ghana get here?
To really get how big of a deal this victory is, we've got to rewind the clock a bit. Because not too long ago, the situation was the complete opposite. You really have to understand the struggle to appreciate the sheer scale of this turnaround. You see this phrase right here, sleepless nights? That really hits home, doesn't it? Because this wasn't just about numbers on a screen. It was about real people, real lives. It perfectly captures that intense anxiety that everyday Ghanaians were feeling during a time of deep, deep uncertainty.
So what did that instability actually feel like for people on the ground? Well, it meant transport fares were always going up, making just getting to work a huge financial burden. If you were a business owner, you were watching your capital, your lifeblood, just shrink right before your eyes. It even got to the point where providing school meals for kids was a real challenge. These were painful, tangible problems felt all across the country. But here's the thing. That wasn't the end of the story, not by a long shot. As our source material says, Ghana turned a decisive corner. This was the moment the fight back really began, built on some really tough but absolutely necessary decisions.
So what was the game plan? How did they pull this off? Well, it really boiled down to three key things, three pillars of recovery. First up, the government got serious about fiscal consolidation, basically getting its financial house in order with disciplined spending. Second, the Bank of Ghana stepped in with a tight monetary policy, managing the money supply to get inflation under control. And third, and this is crucial, those bold actions started to bring back confidence, both from the Ghanaian public and from investors around the world. And boom! Just look at this chart. This shows you exactly what happened. That headline inflation, which was causing so much trouble, they wrestled it all the way down into a single digit, 9.4% as of September. That is a massive win for stabilizing the whole economy. And here's another huge number for you, $12 billion US. That's what the country's gross international reserves are sitting at now. You can think of it like the country's emergency fund, right? It's a big cushion against any future shocks, and it sends a powerful signal to the world that Ghana's economy is standing on solid ground again.
So, the Cedi is strong, inflation is down, reserves are high, everything's looking great, right? Well, not so fast. There's this persistent habit, this lingering problem that threatens to undermine all that incredible progress. We need to talk about the dollar in the room.
And this really is the million-dollar question. Or, I guess, the million Cedi question, right? It just doesn't add up. Why is it that you still see prices for schools, for real estate, for all sorts of goods and services quoted and sometimes even demanded in US dollars? It's a practice that directly chips away at the Cedi's strength.
Let's be super clear about this. The law is simple. The Ghana Cedi is the one and only legal tender in the country. The US dollar, as our source emphatically states, is just not our currency. So using it for local prices, it's not just a quirky habit. It's actively working against the nation's economic stability.
And you can really feel the urgency in this quote from the source material. It's not just a suggestion, it's a plea. It's a powerful call to action that says, hey, we're hurting ourselves here, and we need to stop, like right now.
And that plea, that call to action, it really shifts the focus, you know? It's basically saying that protecting these hard-won gains isn't just a job for the government or the central bank anymore. The core message here is that safeguarding the Cedi is a collective, national responsibility. It's on everyone.
Just take a look at this chart. It breaks it all down perfectly. Of course, you've got the government, which has to stay disciplined. You've got the Bank of Ghana, which has to maintain stability. But look at all the other pieces of the pie.
The private sector needs to do business in the local currency. The media and academics have a role to educate. And yeah, regular citizens, we all have a role to play in how we spend, save, and talk about our own currency.
And this is really cool because it shows they're not just playing defense, they're thinking ahead. The Bank of Ghana is already developing and testing something called the Cedi. It's basically a digital version of the cash in your pocket designed to bring the payment system into the future and make sure the Cedi stays at the heart of the economy even as we move towards a more cashless world. It's fantastic, forward-thinking stuff.
When you boil it all down, this is about more than just economics. It's about pride. It's about identity. The Cedi isn't just a piece of paper or a coin. It's described here as a heritage, a symbol of economic independence. It's a badge of honor for the entire nation.
And so that's where we'll leave it. The first 60 years have been a wild ride, for sure, culminating in this incredible comeback. But the story isn't finished. The next chapter, the story of the next 60 years, well, that's going to be written by every single person who uses, saves, and believes in the Cedi. So the question is, what will that story be? That's something for all of us to think about.